Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing a Gameweek 15 tier list for your transfers. So, guys, I think this is going to be a week where we're going to be making a few transfers. There's some fixture swings, some injuries, some suspensions. We're going to be wanting to make some moves and we're going to try and rank some of the transfer moves that you might want to make. So if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like. Really does help out the channel so much, and do subscribe as well if you're new around here. Before we go any further, if you're looking for a must-buy in web safety and anonymity this game week, then how about today's video sponsor, Surfshark, a VPN service that keeps your identity safe online. It's basically like installing Kieran Trippier to your PC or mobile phone. But not only this, Surfshark allows you to browse the internet as if you're in a different country. If you don't have access to certain football channels and networks in your country, no problem, set your location to somewhere else using Surfshark and you can now access it. Maybe you want to watch Match of the Day or Sky Go from vacation and it's not working, or you're getting that annoying "this content is unavailable in your country" message. You can switch up that country to somewhere else. But here's my favorite feature. If you've watched everything on Netflix and want to unlock all the content on USA Netflix, for example, you can easily do so. You can switch countries faster than you can switch Reece James out of your FPL team. Protect your identity, be safe online, and access web content from around the world wherever you are, and you can now get 83% off and 3 months extra for free. Just use promo code FPLMate, all one word, to get this offer, or you can simply click the link in my description. It really helps support the channel and you get a great service for a heavily discounted price in return. And if you somehow don't like it, there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so everybody wins. So as always, guys, we have got the 20 most popular transfers in at time of recording. If there's a player who's not on this list, it's not because I've purposely excluded them, it's just because they're not that popular of a transfer in. So do let me know in the comments if there's any players you think I've missed out that you want me to talk about, and maybe put them in a category. We'll do that in the comment section. But yeah, we're going to go through from the 20th most popular transfer in to the number 1 most popular transfer in. We're going to put them all on this tier list. Must-buys, great transfers, optionals, bad transfers, and avoids. And we're going to start off with the 20th most popular transfer of the week so far, who is Motown Philly, Phil Foden, who has been a bit of a troll recently. Well, he hasn't been a bit of a troll. Pep Guardiola has been a bit of a troll, back to his old self, ruining our game weeks, every single game week. That's what it's felt like. Phil Foden, however, plays Fulham next at home. It is the worst defense in the whole league against the best attack and one of the best attackers in Phil Foden. You get the impression that if Foden starts in this game, which he should, there is no reason for him to keep being on the bench. You know, Manchester City have already qualified for the Champions League, so there's no reason for the major players to be rested in this game, which means everyone should be able to play in that Game Week 15 fixture against Fulham. So, therefore, Foden surely is going to start this time. I know I'm saying this every week, but yeah, if he does start, I think he's arguably a must-buy. I really would go that far. If he starts, he's a must-buy. The fact that we don't know for 100% if he is going to start or not, I think bumps him down to a great transfer, maybe. But aside from that, I think he's one of the most essential players you can own, provided he gets some minutes. But look, I wish I could tell you for sure if it was going to happen or not. Everything logically tells me that Foden should start in Game Week 15. But then again, I've been saying that for the last couple of game weeks. So who knows? Who knows at this point? That's going to be kind of up to you whether you want to take that risk. Certainly, if you have him, I would not be selling him. So I'm going to leave him in great transfer. Solanke, I think I'm going to put in optional. His numbers are actually down a little bit at the moment. So that is a little bit worrying in a way, but he is super cheap. And you do still fancy him for, you know, a return every other game week. The fixtures coming up are, the last 2 fixtures before the World Cup break are pretty good for Bournemouth and Solanke. So I still think he's a pretty good option, but I don't think he's essential. I don't think he is a great transfer necessarily, but he's certainly an option for you if you are looking for that cheaper forward to go for. Now, Connor Cody next. I'm actually going to put him down in bad transfer, and that's not because I don't like the Everton defence. Actually, I don't mind the Everton defence too much. My issue is Cody is 5 million, which is just way too much for an Everton defender, particularly when you consider the likes of Tarkowski is 4.4 million. You get pretty much the same package, but for 0.6 million cheaper. It doesn't make any sense to go for Cody. You can also maybe go for Nathan Patterson. He is obviously back. He got some minutes in Game Week 14, and we're hoping he's going to be back playing and starting in Game Week 15. Obviously, he's been doing really well whenever he's been fit this season, so Everton will be very pleased to have him back. In fact, maybe Patterson is the one to go for at 4 million, 1 million cheaper than Cody, and has slightly better attacking output there as well. So maybe, you know what, maybe actually Cody bumps down to avoid entirely, just because there are so many options. You know, even Mikalenko, 4.5 million. Cody feels to me like the last Everton defender I would buy in a way. So yeah, I don't like, not for 5 million. I think you could do a lot better for your money. Like even some other teams that you could go for, you know, other defenders who are cheaper, playing for better teams, playing for better defenses with better fixtures. It doesn't really make too much sense for me to go for Cody. I'm going to put Saliba here in bad transfer. I'm not going to put him quite in a void because obviously, I think Saliba is, you know, okay if you already own him. And I know a lot of you guys, you comment on every time we make a tier list video, you've noticed by now, every time I put Saliba like pretty low down in the tier list, and that's just because I don't think his output justifies his 5.2 million price tag. Again, it's a similar situation with Cody. Why would you get Saliba for 5.2 when you can get Ben White for 4.6, when you get Tomiyasu for 4.2? These players are nailed on as well and getting just as many, if not more points than Saliba right now. So it doesn't make sense to me to go for Saliba. Although I do understand if you've owned Saliba for a while, you know, definitely don't sell him. He's like not a bad player to own. But the whole point in this video is that we're looking at transfers. We're not looking at, you know, are these players good or bad? We're looking at, are these players good players to transfer in at this moment? And Saliba, he's going to go low down on the list once again. Ben Mee is also going to go in a void. In fact, I'm going to actually put him lower than Cody because honestly, I know this happens like every game week. There's always like one defender who scores a goal. You know, they'll score like 1 or 2 goals in the entire season. And the week after they score that 1 or 2 goals throughout the season, you know, everyone will rush to buy them in, thinking that they're going to replicate that every single game week. And the big problem with Ben Mee is, one, Brentford's defence has been pretty tragic this season. It's really not been very good. They're conceding a lot of goals, they're conceding a lot of chances, and we don't expect too many clean sheets from them. The other thing with Ben Mee is that he plays Man City in game week 16. Fair enough, we've got a good fixture in 15, but, you know, you're buying a player for 2 game weeks, really, and it seems a bit of a waste of a transfer to bring in a Ben Mee for one good fixture where there's no guarantee that he's going to keep a clean sheet anyway because Brentford's defence is pretty poor. And then we've got Man City in game week 16, which is there's just no chance of a clean sheet there. So I don't like this Ben Mee transfer at all. I think it's really knee-jerk. I think it's really just looking at the score from last week, looking at Ben Mee. Oh, he scored a goal. Maybe he's going to score a goal every week. It's not going to happen. Bad transfer in my eyes. Haaland is like a must-buy if fit, but a must-avoid if not fit. I don't know what's going to happen there. We know he's not going to play in the Champions League. Pep Guardiola has already said that, you know, there's no point in playing him. But I know a lot of you guys are going to be wondering about this. I should say that there is a lot of positive speak, I suppose, from Pep Guardiola saying that he's hopeful that Haaland is going to be available for this Fulham game at the weekend. Like, you know, we've got 6 days between now and then, or 5 days, should I say. 5 or 6, I'm not sure. Anyway, look, there's a good chance he's going to be back. And the great thing about Haaland, the great thing about Foden is that we have got that fixture against Fulham as the early kickoff again. So we are going to hopefully find out for sure, get some early team news and find out for sure whether these players are going to be playing. So what I would really recommend with both Haaland and Foden, if you're considering bringing them in right now or if you're considering selling them, I would definitely say wait for as long as you possibly can. I know a lot of you guys are going to want to make your transfers early, but if it's all possible, it is going to be worth waiting until the last second, the last minute, and figuring out from there are these players going to be starting or not? Because if they're both on the bench again, or you know they're not even in the squad, then you're not going to want to buy them. But if they're both starting, these players are almost essential. You know, when we look at this Man City versus Fulham game, this screams to me, you know we have like the typical 8-0s. We only have them a couple of times per season. These huge score lines. This game, at the best attack, playing at home against the worst defence, this is the prime opportunity for the huge scoreline. So, in that case, we've got to get some Man City attackers in. We absolutely have to. It is an essential thing to do. But they've got to play first, which is a key thing. Pope, I'm going to put in bad transfer. I'm not really sure why anyone would buy Pope right now. We've only got 2 game weeks left, and then we get unlimited transfers, and then you can make a goalkeeper transfer. So it doesn't really make too much sense to be making that goalkeeper transfer right now for the sake of 2 game weeks. I would just roll with whatever you've got right now and maybe prioritize your transfers in other areas of the pitch. But also, if I'm going to go for a goalkeeper right now, I'm probably going to be you know, trying to save money. Like, if I had to make a goalkeeper transfer, it would be to free up some of my budget. So I'd go for someone cheaper, like Guaita or maybe Kepa or something like that. I would just be going for someone other than Pope. I'd be going for that cheap goalkeeper to save money. Then at least it serves another purpose rather than just you know, picking a goalkeeper you think is going to do well. But aside from that, also, we have to consider that Newcastle assets are becoming pretty essential right now. We've got some more Newcastle players on this transfer tier list who are all going to rank higher than Pope. Spoilers. And therefore, you can only have 3. Is Pope a waste of a Newcastle slot? I think he genuinely is. So he's going to go in bad transfer. Martinelli, I think, is optional. I don't think this is a game week where I'd be jumping on Martinelli, like, definitely. But he's still a very good option, still amazing for his price. But Chelsea next is going to be a difficult fixture, you would say. I think he's still definitely optional if you don't have him already. If you have him, definitely keep him. But would this be the week to go for Martinelli? Possibly not. I think we can go elsewhere. Cancelo, another great transfer if you don't have him already. Nailed on for Man City. Amazing fixtures over the next 2. We've got Fulham and then we've got Brentford. So very, very nice indeed. Hopefully some clean sheets for the best defence in the league. Although, you know what? Newcastle are making a play for the best defence in the league. Putting that one out there. Castagna, I think, is an option. I think 4.6 million is starting to get a little bit expensive, but I have to say, Newcastle have completely turned it around. Leicester have completely turned it around defensively, and they've got some good fixtures in the next 2. So, last week I said, don't buy Castagna. He's got a game against Man City. It's not the time to jump on him. Wait one more game week. Well, now is that next game week where we can start considering him again. So, he's going to go in optional. Not a bad, cheap defender to go for right now at all in the slightest. So, maybe he is worth considering. Harry Kane, would I be going for Harry Kane up against Liverpool next? Possibly not. I guess he's always going to be optional. I don't want to put him in as a bad transfer because I don't think you can ever really have a premium player who is a bad transfer unless they're really going to cripple the rest of your team. So I think we're going to put him in optional. But I do prefer some of these other players. If I had to make a transfer right now, Harry Kane would not be top of my list. The only way I'd really consider Kane is maybe if Haaland was confirmed out injured. Maybe I'd go for Kane in that case, but I probably wouldn't even then. So he's an option, but I wouldn't be too excited about it. Spurs, you know, not in very good form recently either. And Liverpool are actually looking better. I know they didn't get the result they wanted against Leeds, but they looked very good in that game and perhaps a little bit unlucky not to come away with a result. Gabriel Jesus, again, similar to Martinelli, are you going to be bringing in... you know, are we going to be bringing in Arsenal players ahead of a game against Chelsea? Maybe. Arsenal are in good form, but it's not absolutely essential. Small note on Jesus. I don't think there's much point in worrying about this, but there's a couple of players, Jesus included, who is on 4 yellow cards right now, which means if he gets 1 more yellow card, he is going to be suspended for the following game. But if he gets a yellow card in game week 15, then he's not going to play in 16. But if he gets a yellow card in 16, then it doesn't matter because you've got unlimited transfers between game week 16 and game week 17. So the only real minor concern is that he gets a yellow card in this game week, which, you know, what are the chances of that happening, really? I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would still make sure you are considering Jesus. But I have to say, like, Martinelli is still the preference. If you're going to go for an Arsenal attacker, go for Martinelli. But if you want to double up on that Arsenal attack, Jesus is probably the guy you're going to want to go for, right? Rashford, I think he's going up. I think I'm actually going to drop into I'm not sure. It's either optional or a great transfer. He's definitely an option. I'm not 100% sure I'd want him to go for him in this game week because of the Aston Villa fixture. But Aston Villa seem to be getting worse. Like, they were putting up some really good defensive numbers, but that seems to be slipping away gradually, doesn't it? So maybe this is going to be a good opportunity for Rashford. Certainly, I like Rashford for game week 16, and that is why I'm actually going to move him into a great transfer, because I know a lot of you guys right now, whether it's Saka, you're worried about his injury, whether it's Zaha, you're worried about his form. A lot of you guys are going to be looking to get a new midfielder for your team, and if you're going to go for a midfielder, Rashford, because of his really nice fixture in game week 16 against Fulham, there's a lot of argument to just go 1 week early and go now and say, you know, Aston Villa, not in great form, maybe United can do the business there, and then we've got a nice fixture after that. You know, you're sorted, basically. You're settled, you're sorted for the next 2 game weeks. So I like that in general. The West Ham fixture I didn't really like for Marcus Rashford, but look, you know, he's proven me wrong. He scored a goal, and we move on and we readjust our opinions on him. But look, the Fulham game was always good for him. That Aston Villa game I didn't think was good, but he's looking better, right? So he's an option. He's an option for sure, and I'd say a great transfer. Trippier is arguably a must-buy, right? At this point, again, smashing it. Obviously, he didn't do so well against Spurs in game week 13. Unlucky game week 13, but game week 14, back with a bang for Trippier. One of the most essential players in FPL right now. You know, Newcastle playing so well. Trippier is the new defender to own. Forget about, you know, we had like last season, we had like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Reece James and obviously Cancelo, who's still there. But this season, it's the Trippier show, right? He's the best defender to own in the entirety of FPL. I think we can all probably agree on that one. Mitrovic, I feel like I need to put him in optional, pretty low tier optional, maybe even a bad transfer. I just feel like, yeah, I'm going to put him in bad transfer, which is maybe a little bit harsh because he's a phenomenal player in really good form. Really unlucky not to get anything out of game week 14, by the way. Really unlucky. However, the next game is against Manchester City. And as a rule, you don't transfer in players when they're about to play against Man City. That's just a good rule of thumb, really, isn't it? It's just a bad time to jump in on a player. But I know a lot of you guys are going to be wanting to replace Tony because of his suspension, maybe some other players. But to be honest, I know a lot of people are actually looking to transfer out Mitrovic, and I may even be one of those people, to be honest, depending on other things, injuries and this, that, and the other. But I may transfer out Mitrovic myself. I don't like this Man City fixture, and then there's Manchester United in game week 17 as well. So the next two fixtures, not so great for Mitrovic. And I know a few of you will say, well, Mitrovic scores against anyone. But when we say anyone, we really mean Liverpool at the beginning of the season, where their defence was just tragic. And we mean Spurs, who have been a real mixed bag. I wouldn't call Liverpool and Spurs anybody. You know, they're not as good as Man City. That's just a plain fact. They're not as good. You know, even Manchester United, I would rather play an attacker against Spurs. I'd rather play an attacker against Liverpool right now than I would do against Manchester United, because United are actually looking pretty solid defensively. So, Mitrovic, not the time. I'm sorry, guys. Dalot I quite like. From a defensive point of view, this Aston Villa fixture, you can't really go wrong. In fact, I'm actually going to put Dalot in a great transfer, because I'm actually going to put him ahead of Rashford. Because in terms of defenders, the defenders we should be looking at right now, Manchester United are a really good shout. Really, really good shout. We've got this game against Aston Villa, which is really nice. The Fulham game after that, I worry about clean sheets a little bit. But like I say, Man United have been a good defence. And Dalot is, you know, providing a little bit of attacking impetus in that United team as well. So, overall, I think Dalot could be a pretty good transfer to go for. Yeah, we're actually putting... I know some people say that I've got a bias against Manchester United. But look, there you go. 2 Manchester United players in a great transfer. So, it depends. You know, things change throughout the season. Opinions change. Teams go into form. They go out of form. Teams have good fixtures. They have bad fixtures. Right now, I'm actually kind of liking the Man United players more than I am the Arsenal players. So, how about that? I think we're going to put De Bruyne in a great transfer as well. I'm going to put him here. I still think when playing, Haaland and Foden are the 2 best City assets to own. But genuinely at this point, for a third Man City player, I actually put De Bruyne above Cancelo at this moment. Like, genuinely, I really do feel like that. Especially if Haaland is unavailable. I feel like I really want to get De Bruyne in. That's probably what I will do. If Haaland is not going to play against Fulham, I will probably transfer out Haaland and Zaha maybe for probably a forward, who we'll speak about in a moment, and Zaha out for De Bruyne. So, yeah, I think De Bruyne is a really good option. Really, really good option to go for right now. And if Haaland is unavailable, potential captain option as well, because we know we're going to get decent minutes from De Bruyne. Overall, I think he's a good transfer. If you can go for him, go for him. But a lot of you will be asking, should we sell Salah for De Bruyne? That is a more difficult question. And I do have Salah, and I will not be looking to transfer Salah out for De Bruyne personally. But it's an option to transfer out Salah for De Bruyne, but I actually think Salah's been in some really good form, and I know you guys are probably going to be disappointed with the 7-pointer in game week 14 from Salah, but he looked like he could have got a lot more from that game. He could have had an absolute haul. He was taking so many shots. He was in dangerous areas constantly, and he's looking really good over the last few weeks. He really is. So, it would be a little bit knee-jerk, I think, to transfer out Salah, or at least to write off Salah entirely, but both good options, but De Bruyne is slightly better. Trossard, I'm going to put in a great transfer as well. I'm being pretty generous this week, right? Let's put him like, I don't know, I would say like somewhere around here. Trossard has been in such good form, and he was playing as a striker against Chelsea. If we see more of that from Trossard, then we're going to see the best from him. Like, he could have got more from that game as well. He played really, really well. He's just a phenomenal player. He's just a bit of a troll in that when he scores points. He seems to score points in the harder games, doesn't he? Scoring against Chelsea, scoring against Man City. A lot of you guys would have sold him recently. Maybe it's time to consider bringing him back. He's just like one of the players of the season so far, isn't he? Literally one of the better players in the Premier League this season. So I think he has to go down as a great transfer in a couple of reasonably good fixtures for Brighton there. I think I would be happy to back Trossard. And finally, the two Newcastle attackers that are on everybody's lips right now. Almiron, how can I call him anything other than a great transfer? I'm going to put him slightly... Am I going to put him below Trossard? I'm not sure. I guess with that price, 5.6 million, I have to put him ahead of Trossard. So I do think he's a great transfer. I don't think he's an absolute must-buy. I just feel like must-buys has to be reserved for the best of the best, and that is your likes of Haaland and Trippiers and Fodens and De Bruyne and Cancelo. These players who are just consistent machines, just consistently churning out insane points. And that's not to say Almiron isn't in great form. Outside of these, these FPL superstars, Almiron is next up. Like, he's the #1 form player, you'd say, right now in the Premier League, and Newcastle are obviously as a team playing so well. So Almiron has to be up there. He's an insanely good value for money, but I'm not quite ready to put him in the same categories as the likes of Haaland and Trippier. I'm not quite ready for that, even Foden, but still. Almiron, for what he is, what a player, what a buy. We've actually got quite a lot of must-buys and great transfers this week, haven't we, guys? And finally, Callum Wilson, who I'm actually going to put ahead of a few of these players. I'm going to put him actually here. The reason why I'm going to put him there is not necessarily because I think he's more essential than some of these other forwards, I guess. It's more to do with the fact that I know a lot of you guys are going to be looking to replace forwards. A lot of you guys are going to have Tony, who is suspended. You're going to have to remove him. A lot of you guys are going to have Mitrovic. Mitrovic is, concerning with his fixtures. We've got Man City next and Manchester United. We don't like these fixtures. We have got the likes of Haaland, who could be injured. If he's unavailable, you're going to need to find a replacement forward. And if we're looking for forwards right now, and we spoke about this on the strategy stream that we did last night, so go check out the strategy stream if you want a real more detailed conversation about forwards. But we narrowed it down to a case where we're basically, in terms of those mid-price forwards, kind of Wilson or nobody. Like, Wilson is just such a standout that it doesn't really make sense to go for anyone else. And on this channel, we've hyped up Wilson a lot before, and people always say, oh, I don't like Wilson, he's injury prone. I bet you changed your mind now after that 20-pointer last game week, didn't you? Or 18-pointer, should I say. But still, you guys are changing. This is what I'm saying. When Wilson is fit, he is an absolute machine, and I wish I got him myself. It just wasn't really feasible for me to get him into my team. At this point now, however, I think it possibly is. Mitrovic to Wilson looks like a good move to me. Haaland, if unavailable to Wilson, looks like a really good move. Tony to Wilson is like the most obvious transfer you will ever make in FPL, so definitely do that. So Wilson in general is just a great transfer. I don't think he's a must-buy. If you have other players that can fill that void. If you want to just stick with Mitrovic, see what you can do. If you've got the likes of Kane and Haaland, if you've got the likes of Solanke, who you don't mind keeping, that's absolutely fine. So I don't think it's a must-buy, but certainly he is a really, really good option that will hopefully solve a lot of your forward position problems. So there we go, guys. That is going to be the tier list for today. I think it's not as controversial as usual today. I think most of you guys are probably going to agree with this one, but do let me know if you think any players should be moving on this list. But I think we actually nailed it today. I'm hoping you guys... I always know I've nailed it because we put a load of players in great transfer. That's how I know that everyone's going to be happy, because everyone wants to see all of the players as high on the list as possible. So we put them there. But no, genuinely, this is how I would rank these players right now in terms of who you should be prioritising your transfers. Certainly Haaland, Trippier, Foden, De Bruyne, Wilson, Cancelo, Almiron, Trossard, Dalot and Rashford. These are going to be your big transfer targets for Game Week 15 in my opinion, and hopefully a lot of you guys are going to be going for these players. Thank you so much for watching today, guys. Don't forget to leave a like before you disappear, and do subscribe if you're new around here as well. Check out Surfshark as well. The link is in the description. But that's going to be it for me today. Buy, sell, keep, avoid coming tomorrow. We're going to be talking about some of these players on this tier list in a little bit more detail. So look forward to that. And yeah, that's going to be it from me today. So thank you once again for watching, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.